Alright, I'm going to go over how I have programmed the lowered suspension height. This is a 2020 Macan Turbo. It has air suspension, obviously, or else I wouldn't be talking about this. And right now it's lowered about, it's like a little more than 1.5 inches, maybe 1.75 inches, maybe not quite. And the goal right now is to restore it to stock height because it's going into Porsche in a week for service, and I wanted it to just get back to stock height and settle in. Okay, so we've got the software tester here. This is from Innovative Soft. I'm going to go into Diagnostics 38.3. Should detect the vehicle. Continue. Alright, so once it loads here in the overview screen, I'm going to scroll down to the PASM section. Select, come down here to Next or hit F12. Alright, there's only one option here. Leave that selected. Come over here to coding. Manual coding without rules. No rules. Okay, now in here there's two important sets of data. We're only going to be changing one of them, but it's nice to see both sets. So here, and remember I'm already lowered, so this is going to show you my lowered values, which on another turbo from this model year should be pretty close. They're not going to be identical, but they should be close. So this first set is the last entered measured height. So if you were doing the calibration from scratch, which is another procedure, these four settings are going to show you the height around all four corners. And then you scroll down. This next section is the adjustment. And the goal here is to adjust in a way that will tell the vehicle what the height is actually set to, so that you're not trying to fake it out with, fake measurements. I've seen this done another way where, you measure your height and then you add a little bit to it, telling the car that basically it's sitting higher than it's supposed to, and then it lowers itself down. But that's not going to get you the right headlight height. That's going to be telling the car it's at a different level than it really is, and as a result your headlights are going to be shining low if you're lowering. Okay, so anyway, we've got our 8 settings selected there. I'm going to press Next. So there they are. And here you can see my values. So these 440, 440, 450, 450 were the last entered and measured values. They were actually, it was 440, 439, 449, 450. I rounded them because, measuring by millimeter I think is actually quite tricky. On a vehicle like this, depending on what surface you're on, it may not be 100% levelly perfect. So here, these last four are the adjustments. If you convert that German to English, you'll see the translation. And remember, these are my lowered values. So before I go any further, you can see I didn't go to this length when I was first setting the lowered height, but I wanted to just show that I'm trying to do it the way you're supposed to here. So got a laser level, just kind of sitting on some stuff, but that gets it to the center of the wheel, and then I want to measure up from there to the fender. And I'm trying to be very careful not to scratch anything. So measurement there is what? 15 and 15/16. Well, it's actually closer to 15 and just over 7/8. Okay? Center of the wheel, top of the fender. And so now the idea here is we're not trying to fake anything out. We're actually trying to set an adjustment value. So my values are lower than where they started by about 20 millimeters, actually a little over. I need to go look these up, but I'm going to be restoring this to stock. And I should also note the vehicle's running right now. And I don't just have the ignition on. You could probably do it with just the ignition on, but for this procedure, I have it running. This is how I did it the first time, and I've gone back and forth a few times like this. So stock value for the front was 190. So I'm just going to put this in here, 190 and 190. and down here was 172 and 172. Again, your adjustment values are going to be a little bit different, but they should be plus or minus a couple millimeters. They shouldn't be off by much because these vehicles should all have the same parts, should be calibrated roughly the same. So there you go. So this is going to adjust on the fly. So if I come back here, we're still in the lowered position. I'm going to write this, so I'm going to click on write or F8. It says coding successfully written, and it started raising itself right away. So now we're going to measure again. Okay. And we're now at 17. And what do we call this here? 5/16, a little over 17 and 5/16 approximately. Just scoot that in. And I am in low setting, I should mention that. Low setting for the PASM settings in the car. If I set that up to normal, it will raise up, as you know, about an inch. So that's back to stock. Just that easy. And the headlight height remains as it should. Here I'm just taking one more measurement. So this is now in normal mode, and we're at just over 18 and a quarter. So that's stock height. That's where it's always been since I got the vehicle. You know, I've lowered it recently. I've toggled back and forth several times between these lowered settings and the stock settings. It always returns perfectly to the original stock height. So no need to recalibrate the whole system. You just set this adjustment value up or down as you wish, and it will lower the vehicle or raise it.